All right, this is a recording of chapter 25, First Morning in Rome. Iam dies erat. Now it was day. Note, erat is the imperfect of the verb to be. Magnus erat clamor urbe. There was, erat, a large shout in the city. Slaves ad forum, to the forum, ferebant. They carried, ferebant with a BA imperfect. So the slaves were carrying onera, accusative, plural, direct object, plural loads, to the forum, magno tumultu, ablative, showing your manner with a great uproar. On all sides, undique, shouting and ruckus. Strepitus is ruckus. In this sentence, you are missing the verb to be, and so therefore I would imply an erat most likely. This is a literary device called ellipsis. Said, but nothing of the shouting, that is the genitive part of the whole, all the shouting, we're taking the nothing part. Nothing of the ruckus. Long US is a fourth declension, genitive singular. So it's nothing of the ruckus. Arrived, did arrive, has arrived to Marcus. The long E on Wayne, it tells us that it is a perfect tense from Wainio, Wainire, Waini, Ventus. In lecto stetebat. Oh, to go back for just a second, please note the nihils are an anaphora. You repeat them. Nothing is what's being stressed. So he was snoring, sterto, stertere, sterte bond. He was snoring in the bed, for he was tired. Defesus erat. Sextus quoque in lecto manebat. Sextus also was remaining in the bed, but he was not able. Pot erat is nothing more than the verb sumesse with a P-O-T on the front of it. He was not able to sleep. He's a country boy. He's not used to the sound of the city that most likely Marcus is. He, our subject of cogitabat, modified by excitatus, which is a perfect passive participle. Excito, excitare, excitavi, excitatus. Having been riled up is how you translate the perfect passive participle. It's the fourth principal part of the verb. By the shouts and by the ruckus, both in the ablative, it's the cause. He was thinking, he was cogitating about all the things which quas Titus had told yesterday. It is a pluperfect narraverat, had told. What will we see today? And then ne on Cornelius ne is then going to indicate a question. The E of ducat in that line is going to indicate we need to ask the question, and it is from the third conjugation, duco, ducere, so therefore, will Cornelius lead us into the forum? I know that nos is us because our verb does not have the mus, and thus it is functioning as the object. Ego certe, I, which we don't have to have, but it's there for emphasis, certainly, ly with a long E, I certainly want to see videre, the curia, the Senate House, and the senators, and when you have two ets, it's going to be both and, both the curia and the senators. Meanwhile, interia Eucleides, qui prima luca exierat, who had gone out at first light. It's had because it is pluperfect, ablative of time. Iam domum redierat. Already he had returned home. He had gone back home. Immediately statim. He petiwit from peto, petere, petivi, petitus. He looked for, he sought the bedroom, direct object accusative of the boys, genitive plural, and he said, alas, boys, why no longer, or why not yet, not no longer, nondum is not yet, why not yet have, perfect stem, perfect ending, y'all gotten up, have y'all risen, surgo, surgere, surrexi, I, ego surrexi, got up 2 hours, duas horas, ab hinc ago. Because I was wanting volebam to buy, emo emere ami emptus, to buy a novum librum, a new book, I discandi. This is a verb that could either be present tense, or it's only perfect tense, it has the perfect ending. It's the stem that could be present or perfect, but here with the perfect ending, it has to be perfect. I went down into Argiletum, which is a neighborhood of Rome, early in the morning, mane, to a certain shop, ad tabernam quandam means a certain, where you are able, potes, videre, to see, nomina, the names. Now that is accusative plural neuter from the word nomen nominus. Now please note the word multorum is right next to it. Very often students make the mistakes of saying many names. That is incorrect. Multorum cannot modify mul nomina because they do not have the same case number and gender. Instead, it's where you are able to see the names of many poets. Multorum is modifying poetarum on the doorposts. Please note that poetarum looks as though it is feminine because it is first declension. However, it is actually one of the few first declension masculine words, which is why it is then modified by multorum. And then he goes on to list them. Catullus, Flaccus, which you know are our authors of the day that we've had. Catullus writing the 116 poem Carmina, and Horace, of course, Mr. Lyric. Quintus Horatius Flaccus, whose quote is in my room. At pueri, but the boys quickly celeriter intervallaverunt. They did interrupt, they have interrupted. Quod Euclides, because Euclides, ut bene sciebant, as ut sciebant, they knew bene well, that Euclides semper aliquid novi docere volebant, always was wanting to teach, docere aliquid something novi, of the new, another genitive part of the whole. We in English would just say something new, but in Latin it is something of the new. Quid in viis vidisti? What did you see in the streets? They are more interested in what's going on in the city. Euclides said nihil. So if he asked, what did you see? Euclides would imply the verb vidi. I saw nothing except nisi, or unless, or if not for nisi, but here it's most likely except, and then implied again, I saw, then the direct object, miserum hominem, a miserable man, a man, oppressum, another perfect passive participle, the fourth principal part of the verb, opprimo, opprimere, oppressi, oppressus, having been overwhelmed by stones. Boes, which are the nominative, oxen, or bovines, trahebant, were dragging, lapides quadratos, squared stones, in a wagon, in plaustro, ad novum edificium, towards a new building, quod, which, in this instance, it's going to mean which Caesar, meaning not Julius Caesar, but that's what they called the emperors following Julius Caesar. It would be like us calling every single president Washington, which Caesar, and in this instance, we all know this is going to be Vespasian's son, the emperor at the time, Titus, which Caesar is finishing. This is conficit, which comes from the verb facio, facere. And instead, when you put a prefix on the word, the A, which is the vowel of the verb, very often turns to I. This is called an ablaut, a vowel alternation. So nevertheless, which Caesar is finishing prope domum aureum, near the Golden House. The Golden House was a building created by the Emperor Nero, as we all know, the last of the Julio-Claudians, and an awful emperor. And indeed, when the successor Vespasian, after the year of the three emperors, Galba, Otho, and Vitellius, Vespasian came and reestablished the stability. He tore down much of the Golden House, and in the backyard built what we know of as the Flavian Amphitheater, which we now call the Colosseum today. And that's what's being described. Illud edificium, that building, illud, that. Hick, this. So that building is a huge amphitheater, and soon et mox, the princeps, the emperor faciet, if I see I long ye, future will be, will make games there. Ludos in the plural means games. In the singular, ludus, ludum, in the accusative, it would be school. Si boni pueri fueritis, a future perfect stem, fu, and then eritis from ero, eris, erit, erimis, eritis. And so if y'all will have been good boys, perhaps fortasse ad ludos ibitis, y'all will go to the games. Nevertheless, that is all of the chapter translation. Good luck.